In a previous video, I replicated the Johnny wallet and studied from its patterns, and I learned a lot. And then I created my own iteration of the Johnny wallet improved. For that, I'll provide a video link here or down at the description if you haven't seen that. Anyway, Temperedtrail has done this design and I liked it so much. So I made my own iteration of that, which is this. The biggest difference from this one is the back access pocket. So take a look at that video because that shows the differences between this and this original design. But now, after a week later, I came up with another iteration of the Johnny wallet, which is this. So it's an improvement of sorts, again, from my first attempt to modify it. Okay. I liked it so much. Okay, so I used this iteration for like 1 week or so. I loved it so much, but then ideas started coming up, and so I wanted to try out also a new color which I got, which is the gray or Grigio from Pueblo leather. This is also Pueblo, the black one, which is in black or Nero. These are my personal cards here. I got about 4 of them, and plus one aluminum card to shield it from RFID signaling or scanning. And here, as you can see, I have my Metro card and an air tag, which is encased in this plastic or integrated into this plastic so that I could easily slot it in the back pocket. And of course, there's a compartment for cash, which can go up to 20 or so bills. So this is an interesting one because I used 2 colors this time, and I wanted to see a two-tone type of Johnny wallet. Okay, and then I resolved the back pocket to be a little bit better integrated. Had another flap or piece of surface that wraps around to the back, thereby forming this quick access. Okay, as you could remember that the original wallet was had this just cut out, a cut to slide in your card, quick access card, which did not actually. I don't agree with this because it really weakens the structure of the back side, as you could see, and then it wasn't securing the cards if you want to put cards behind. So therefore, this is a solution. My first iteration was that I just stitched in this is other piece, but then as a week passed while using that first iteration, we came up with some ideas about this second iteration. So currently I have some 10 bills, 10 US dollar bills right here, and you could slide them in like this or like this. So just a good improvement. Okay, so one of the new color that I have here is this gray color. It's more of a greenish gray. Hopefully this is you can see that a greenish gray, which I like. It has patinaed a bit for since 1 week ago, And one of the interesting things that I did for the flap was that I went back to that original flap. I realized that the double snaps thing of the first iteration was kind of unnecessary because when you open this just to get a card or the cash, it's just fine. So if you need a card, you open it like that, you get your card, and that's it. And then you just have to just worry about just one snap button here. And I was practicing also some of the new embossing system that I just bought. Okay, so these are the lettering set that I recently purchased. These are like 4 millimeters by 2 millimeters. In well, 4 millimeters in height at 2 millimeters width per letter. And I was just practicing the embossing techniques. Okay, so here you could see my modal, or the what BAD stands for, which is bold, adventurous, and dynamic. So the C sort of like went down a bit, so I have to improve on aligning that in the future or so. But anyway, every time I iterate these original designs and try to integrate some improvements, okay, so that gives me a bit more experience. The purpose of me going through all of these iterations or just practicing existing designs of leather is to really learn from them. And the best way is to actually replicate and know their dimensions. So one of the things that I learned from before was more more tolerances. It was needed in having this flap, because as against to the snap button, because there should be some allowances for me to place in if I need more cards, and therefore this has to be loose, uh, has some allowances to accommodate those much more cards, no, a greater number of cards. And then of course I tried also this technique where I hot emboss my logo onto with around this snap button, and it looks better than before, because since this is only 10 millimeters on diameter, it looks kind of small, so I don't have the bigger types of snaps, and therefore this one looks better with this 20 millimeter or so um, emboss of my logo. And then of course the laser etched logo is here underneath, behind this flap opening. And of course there is provision for a lanyard or a pull-up for this one. I At this point I can't even say that this is 100% originally mine, because it takes out it takes from the language of the original Johnny Wall by Temperedtrail again. Okay, so this is a mirrored version, so the second iteration, greatly improved from my first iteration. And yeah, and so far I'm loving also the embossing of this one. At at first I never thought that gold was something that I would like, since there was like a free roll of gold foil for the hot pressing. I tried it out against black, and it looks quite nice. What's the downside of this? Okay, so the downside of this is, number one, of this design is the thickness. Okay, it really increased the thickness from something that is there, mainly because probably one of those factors that contribute to the thickness is the use of a thicker type of leather, which is the uh, this one, the Grigio, or the gray color, came in with some 2 millimeters thickness. So originally, normally, these pebble leather suppliers, they supply the usual 1.5 or 1.6 millimeters, and this is slightly thicker than and stiffer, so which makes it stiffer. But one thing I like about it is that it came in originally when it was dyed or tanned during the process. So this is the original surface, flesh surface behind the finished surface. So this is the front and this is the back. So when you kind of thin out leather, so the flesh side is much whiter. The gray one is thicker. So there's a slight point zero, probably point zero 0.06, point zero 0.04, or point zero 0.06 millimeters extra thickness. But since I didn't have like the same, well, I wanted to use the thinner Nero or black Pueblo. A second flaw to this design is that this became looser, the back axis, quick axis. Supposedly, it should have been tighter, but if I just put one card here, you could see that it's loose, but then this becomes like a place for the air tag with this hardware, which is this piece of plastic, molded plastic, and then just place in your air tag there to manage your air tag a bit better, so it's tighter there. Or I can always put it like this so that I could reach this faster. So this is just held by friction, so you could see that it's not no longer loose because of this air tag inside. So I got to use this for like a week or so, and yeah, it came out. Well, I used it and I love it because I, I love using this because it's really functional. So you open, you need the cash. You do this. You open, you need cards. You just push this a bit, and then you fan out your cards. And then if you need to pack them away, just push them back and close with the snap. Okay. This one is a bit funny. Okay, so the flap here is a bit funny because instead of, well, it used to be the natural edge of the leather. When I found out, when I was looking at it, when I was um, creating this, okay, so the original pattern was supposedly, okay, supposed to be like this only, right? Something like that. So this side is exposed and that side, so it's just a tinier area of for this snap button. But then when I was creating this, realized that the natural edge looked quite interesting. So I settled that for that first. At first, you can see this insert here. But then I realized that since it's covering here, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I wanted to place in like a personalization of a, a personalization here on this edge. So therefore, it dawned upon me that I needed to cut this with the same angle here for this one. So the flap came up with this one, but then I wanted to still um, retain this natural edge, so to speak, here, so that I could always show that this is the natural edge. Probably in the future, if I don't like this much anymore, I'm gonna cut that edge like a horizontally and then be done with it. But at the moment, I see this as quite make it more interesting and unique. So I had to stitch this here, this flap, extra flap, so that it stops these cards from going through, and that's one of those things that was necessary. Okay, so this stitch line had to be there. I wanted my minimal, well, not really minimal, because one of the things that I learned from doing this is stitching two surfaces of leather together. The objective of this was like I wanted two types of colors, which makes it interesting. So something that is like a dark color and something lighter, which is this gray, greenish gray, Grigio, and against this black, which is like the main body or sorts. So you could see the pattern here as like these flaps had to be triangular, and then I have this piece the other way around, so that when you fold it like this is the front surface. So you can't do that with if you did not, if you were doing this one whole piece. Okay, so therefore, by stitching something the other way around, you can achieve this. So this surface needed to face front, and then of course the black side, the correct side, is always on the exterior, and also for this one. So this is made of like how many pieces? So one, two, three pieces stitched all together. So it's not the minimal stitching of the original, which I liked, because this one solves um, less. This takes lesser time to create because of this just one line of stitching that holds everything together. Right, the original design. Appreciate that, but this one takes more labor and of course extra material. Because of this, you have all this cross stitching here to piece these three pieces together, and then you have a stitch here, you have another stitch. Of course the original stitch line is supposed to be there. So how many extra stitching? You got four extra stitching lines. One, two, three, four, as opposed to just one of the original. So extra material, extra cost in material, extra time in stitching, extra everything. So but the end result, okay, so the number one thing from the original from to this second iteration of this modification was, the takeaway here is that it's more functional. Okay, although it is thicker, more functional, long lasting. Because of that, there's no cutout for the quick access for the cards, but this is more robust, heavy duty, because of the material thickness that I used. And overall, better, more labor, more cost, but more reliable than the original. This is just a possibility. Maybe Temperedtrail will see this video and make some improvements of sorts. But then this becomes like just my personal use or personal wallet until such I come up with another iteration of sorts, or probably an entire new design, new wallet again. Purposes. This is for educational purposes. I could just say that I'm just playing around with designs, learning from them, iterating, making new innovations, applying new techniques that I learned along the way, and combining them with ideas or functions that I see in other wallets. And that's the goal, really, is to make improvements, make things better and more functional. Thank you for watching. Bye.